I'm going to be going over different aspects of regular playing cards for psychic or intuitive purposes. Of course, in the past on some of the readings, I would go over how many face cards would be in a deck, a setup, or a reading, and whether there was more diamonds or clubs, spades or hearts, showing where the reading would be more acclimated to going. Like if there's a lot of hearts, it's a lot of happy or emotional times, a lot of spades, worries, diamonds, dealing with more financial, personal matters, more clubs, more business situations. And if there were a lot of people cards, court cards, diamonds, clubs, of queens, kings, jacks, then it would be more people oriented, a lot dealing with a lot of people. Here's another aspect, and then I went into the astrological aspects, whether Jack of Clubs, King of Diamonds, Queen of Hearts, what sign of the zodiac it would be, etc. We did a session on that. And it's good to look at the cards from different aspects, but now we're going to look at dark cards or red cards. So you either have spades and clubs, which is your dark cards, or your diamonds and your hearts, which is the red cards. And the dark cards usually show more worrisome type of things, and the diamonds and the hearts more positive. And with the only exception, the nine of clubs, which just means for sure, because we have to go back to the basic meaning of what the cards were when I showed the meaning of different cards. I'll go over a little of that now, but I want to look at it from the aspect of black cards or red cards and what's surrounding a card, and we'll look at it a little bit from that point of view. Now, over here in the first column, we have the King of Hearts and the Eight of Spades. Now, the Eight of Spades is by the Eight of Hearts on the side, so that means a trip, which concerns an adult male. And right below it is the Ace of Hearts. It would be something family related or personally related about the trip and coming up in one day, week, or month, because it's in the first column. The trip would meet with some minor delays, but because it's a neutral, you have one spade and one heart with the trip, it wouldn't be so bad. So you have to look at it at that point. There's a balancing situation. Seven of clubs means some delays in personal or family situations, but usually it's minor delays. But like I said, because you have the two neutral situation, Eight of Spades and Eight of Hearts, it's not so bad. Now, when we look in the second column, the 2 days, weeks, or months, this, of course, was 1 day, week, or month, and now we move to the second column, 2 days, weeks, or months. What I love about this system is the time factor. It's not only circumstances, diamonds, clubs, hearts, spades, court cards, and the individual meaning of the cards. Like an Eight of Hearts is cooperation, helpfulness, and it involves a young male. There's something about a health situation, perhaps, somebody being helpful, and of course you have something about a trip which seems to be okay, because the Eight of Spades, Eight of Hearts, it's part of the package too, in 2 days, weeks, or months. So we're learning how to evaluate cards and look around. Your mind has to look around at the picture involved. And you have two dark cards below. And when you look at the Ten of Spades, well, we'll go into that a little while. Let's just keep up here. So you have two dark cards below and one dark card on the side. So in essence, this is surrounded by dark cards. Uh, there's some helpfulness from a young male, but there's some stress involved here, and there's a trip with the neutral value. So when you take a look at the surrounding situation, that gives you some keys to the events taking place. Now, in the third column, which is 3 days, weeks, or months, there's a change in plans, which is neutral because you have the two sevens, red and black. It's neutral. Now, there's a black card right below the female card, so there's a female, and the surprise is seeing or hearing from somebody from the past. There's a change in personal plans, some anxiety about it, a couple of black cards below, but a personal change of plans that's kind of neutral because you got a seven of diamonds and a seven of spade. So there's a change that winds up to be okay, but some anxiety about the change or seeing or hearing from the person. So you have to look at the factors there. The factors make a big difference. Now, in the fourth column, 4 days, weeks, or months, I love this because there's a time factor always. You have two people of the same suit, a younger and older male, and that means they're related to each other. Great. See, that's what's great about this system. It gives you the relationship. Two red cards right below a positive situation. We don't even have to worry about that to take place in 4 days, weeks, or months. Now we look at the fifth column. That's 5 days, weeks, or months. Some delays and changes. The nine of clubs is below. That's not a negative card. It just means for sure when you go back to my meaning of the cards. A red card right below. That's good. These two are okay. A little anxiety here because the top card is a black card, and to the right there's a black card. So it really has some mixed reviews about it, but some opposition because of that eight of spades. And this is a neutral change in circumstances that, and it's its next door neighbor because the ten of spades and the ten of hearts balance things out. So you have a very neutral change there. So this isn't so bad. A little family or personal news, some delays, a little worry about it. Could involve a health situation because of that ten of spades, but because the change in times is kind of neutral, not too bad. Now we look at the sixth column, and again, this is part of the whole deal. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the top left across, and over here, two red cards below it, two red cards above it, not so bad, and a change in times that's kind of neutral, ten of spades, ten of hearts. Little anxiety to the right around it, but basically there's a strong indication because of the red cards above and below that things are going to be okay. Now in the seventh column, some anxiety, some change in plans that meets with a lot of delays. The seven of diamonds and seven of spades is a change in plans that's neutral. The delays usually means it's not going to come off, not when it's a seven of spades. And there's black cards above and below. This is a negative situation. When you have a black card here, the king of clubs, a black card here, the seven of spades, above and below, and a lot of delays with changes. So I would say that this is kind of negative, a lot of delays where plans never come off. Now we look at the eighth row. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's some news or something that concerns a female. There's a situation that is pretty positive because there's a red card below, and on top there's a black card, but to the side there's a red card, so the red cards outweigh the black cards, and it's a pretty positive situation. Uh, and when you see a queen between two jacks, which means an undecided uh, whether you want to be with or around the person, and then you see a red card to the side, it's not a bad indication. There'll be a change going on, but it's positive. I'm trying to give you energy with black and red cards so that you know how to look at it intuitively. Now, in the ninth column, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, it just means for sure. Black, 9, even though it's a dark card, just means for sure. It's not a negative card. So, and then it seems to involve an adult or older male. And then in the 10th column, this goes along with the change in general plans, uh, pleasant surprise, because this is 10 of spades is part of the change in times, but it's neutralized. This isn't too bad, and there's a red card on the side. Now, in the 11th column, there's a gift or small amount of money that comes through a female, a little anxiety over it, but there's a red card here, a red card there, so that's okay. In the 12th column, 12 days, weeks, or months. Remember, there's always a time factor. This is 11 days, weeks, or months. This is 12 days, weeks, or months. There's some good news concerning a young male. There's a red card above. There's a red card on the side. There's a red card above again. This is great. It's really a good situation. So learn to look for red and black cards and energies. This is what psychic or intuitive is. It's about energy.